Dmitry Babich is a political analyst from the Russian international news agency Sputnik. Dmitry, welcome to WION The World is One, and it's good to have you with us. What should one expect from this trip of Putin to North Korea?
Well, I think we can expect more cooperation between the two countries in the economic sphere. Of course, Russia is not going to be again a communist country like North Korea. And if you read carefully the article that Putin contributed to the North Korean newspaper, Nadon Shimbun, you will see that actually Putin does not praise communism there as an ideology. He praises, I quote, the right of North Koreans to choose their own way of development, end of quote. So Russia's position is that every country, every nation should have the right to determine the best way for its development. Okay, if it so happens that North Koreans have a communist government, let them themselves develop it, find a way to improve their lives. This makes Russia different from the United States and its allies, which basically force one and the same model for all countries. Mm-hmm. And in that sense, yes, Russia is an ally of China and of North Korea, but an informal ally. If we look at the relations between Russia, North Korea, and China, there is a lot less discipline than, for example, in the relations between the United States, South Korea, and Japan. Right. The United States, South Korea, and Japan, this is what they call Far Eastern NATO, Asian NATO, which means an aggressive bloc which can attack other countries. China has not attacked any country since the 70s. North Korea, despite all the rumors about it, still never attacked South Korea, despite numerous very dangerous military exercises which are conducted by South Koreans and Americans right on the border with North Korea. So I think the message from Putin is be yourself, develop your country, we will help you. In that sense, we are the world's majority, the countries that want to develop themselves.
Mr. Babich, now that you mentioned South Korea, how do you think South Korea is going to view this visit by Putin to North Korea? And 24 years later, why now? Why is Putin going to North Korea and Vietnam?
Well, South Korea, I know it from my experience of talking to just simple people in South Korea, sometimes to South Korean diplomats. A lot of people in South Korea want peace with North Korea. And they want Russia to be an intermediary. Russia is a country that can talk to both Pyongyang and Seoul. We have diplomatic relations with both North Korea and South Korea. That makes us different from the United States, which openly supports just one side in this conflict. So South Koreans, I think officially they will say that Russia, Putin is visiting an authoritarian regime, blah, 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 but a lot of South Koreans actually put a lot of hope in Russia helping them to get out of the conflict with North Korea. As for the timing of the visit, well, I think it's obvious. Now North Korea and Russia are facing the same illegal sanctions from the United States, from the European Union, from their allies. These sanctions are cruel. If the United States could hunger us, if they could create a famine in Russia, they would be very happy to do so. Mm-hmm. They managed to create a famine in North Korea in the 90s, but thank God it's over now. So in that sense, we feel a certain fraternity with North Koreans because the United States is trying to isolate us, right, just like it isolated North Korea for many years. Mm-hmm. As for Vietnam, I think this is another way how Putin wants to show that basically Russia is not isolating itself. We have a lot of friends. Everyone knows that Vietnam has a difficult relationship with China. Sometimes there was a rivalry between these two countries. But we want to be friends with China, with Vietnam, with North Korea, preferably with South Korea. Unfortunately, South Korea supplies weapons to Poland, making our Polish army the strongest army in Europe, as they say. That is not a very friendly move towards Russia, but still we want to be friends even with South Koreans. Right. We are not against any country. We are against the ultra-liberal or neoliberal ideology which divides the world into democracies and autocracies, and in this way creates the conditions for a terrible, devastating war. In that sense, I think both North Korea and Russia and Vietnam were interested in preventing a war. There is only one way to prevent the war: to respect each other. The United States and the EU should stop calling other countries' leaders tyrants. They should respect other nations, treat them as equals.
Mr. Babic, we are running out of time. I really wanted to ask you this last question, and I will. And I want you to make it very quick. Now that we are talking about sanctions and Russia being isolated, do you think this is Putin's way of rebutting what happened in Switzerland with the Ukraine summit? Very quickly.
No, I think that Putin kind of stole the show from the summit in Switzerland by making his proposal on the eve of the Swiss conference. Please look at the news from Friday when Putin made his peace offer to Ukraine. That certainly stole the show. I think the visit to North Korea, it came as a surprise to many, even though it was announced that it would happen at some point in summer, but only yesterday it became obvious that Putin would go to North Korea. I think the visit to North Korea is a message to the world. For Russia, there are no pariah nations.
Okay.
We call on all the world, pariahs, come together. Together we will build real democracy. Don't let Western countries treat you as pariahs.
Dmitry Babic, he's a political analyst from the Russian international news agency Sputnik. Mr. Babic, thank you for talking to WION World is One today. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.